This is a sign you need more guns and ammo. When I saw this billboard, I knew I had to photograph it for this documentary In Search of America because we have gotten, in my opinion at least, we have gotten out of control with guns. And I am not opposed to guns in any way, shape, or form. I have absolutely no problem with guns. What I do have a problem with are automatic weapons, assault weapons. I have a big problem with those because having been in the military, in fact, when I was in boot camp, Marine Corps boot camp, the M16, which is the AK-47, or it's one of the assault weapons, has a different name in public, but the M16 had just been introduced. And the AR-15 is the assault weapon. Anyhow, the M16 version of that had just been introduced, and they were teaching us about this and why it was such a great advancement in weaponry. And the main thing is that even though the bullet itself, the round, was smaller, 5.56 as opposed to 7 point whatever from the M14, this this weapon, this projectile was designed specifically for people that are not good shots, whose aim just isn't quite right. And the reason that they did this is so that, when the round would enter a body, and say it entered right here in the shoulder, into a person's shoulder, is once it entered the body, it would begin to tumble end over end over end and make its way throughout the body. And if it exited at all, it exited from a completely different part of the body. And as a result, it just shredded everything in its pathway inside the body. And so when people say to me, well, I use my AR-15 for deer hunting. Well, if they do, then they must not like to eat the deer meat, because if that thing goes into the deer, it's going to rip and shred so much of what's inside. But again, that's what makes it so deadly when people use it, for the most part, from what we've seen in school shootings. These people, these kids, these adults, they go into a school and they use an AR-15 and they open fire. And that's why there's so many casualties, because the bullets just rip through. And that's something that the media never talks about. They just say, oh, well, so many were shot, so many were killed. This was the weapon used. But they don't talk about how deadly these weapons are. And for me, I don't really believe they should be on the open market for just anybody to have. If you say, well, I want to protect myself, I understand that. I'm all for that. If you want to protect yourself from an intruder into your home and your place of business, buy a shotgun. And on the barrel of a shotgun, in the muzzle, there's a thing called the choke. And you turn it one way and the pattern comes out close. You open it up, the pattern comes out this way. Open the choke wide. And anybody that enters your house, I don't care how bad of a shot you are, if the muzzle of that shotgun is pointed at the intruder, they are going down. I guarantee it. And also, with a shotgun, it's called a pump action, a bang, bang. See them in the movies all the time. You can turn it into a semi-automatic weapon based on how fast you can pump and pull the trigger. So again, these are more than effective. If you want to protect yourself in public and have a gun, fine, have a handgun. I don't have a problem with it. But anyhow, when I saw this sign, on the very surface of it, it said, it's just more promoting the need to have guns and to use them. But on a deeper level, a much deeper level, for me at least, and why I made the photograph, is because it's saying that, hey, there's a war coming to our land. between us, between we, the people of the United States. And we need to ammo up. We need to be prepared for this coming war. And again, this seems to be in part where our society has been heading for a long time. And it seems to be getting close to peaking or hitting a crescendo. And that, for me, is the importance of having made this photograph.